Hey guys, today we'll be talking about Fobs. I'll go over the basics and what are you doing there? Thank you. We'll be going over the basics and then I'll talk about more advanced stuff for you veteran players. So, what is a fob? Fob is a forward operating base for your team. Notice that I said base and not spawn point because a fob may exist without a spawn point. We'll get to that in a second. To build one, your squad leader needs to place down a radio hub. The radio is basically the heart of your fob. The radio goes down, your fob dies. One of the requirements for you to build a fob is to first have a squad leader kit. You can spawn with one or get it from an ammo crate. The second requirement to placing a radio is to have it at the minimum distance between your main base and other friendly fobs. It cannot be closer than 150 meters from a base, and it cannot be closer than 400 meters from another friendly fob. And now you ask, okay, but how can I determine the distance that I am to another fob or main base? One of the things you can do is place a move marker on what you want to measure the distance, and from there it will give you a rough estimation. The second way you can do it is to open your map and use the scales on the bottom right corner of your screen to measure the distance to the other fob or to your main base. The third, and the one that surprised me the most that people are not aware about, is that you can build a fob with 2 team members, not just 2 squad members. Keep that in mind next time you're waiting for the logistics driver to get to you so you can build a radio. Right, so you meet all the requirements and now it's time to build a fob. You're gonna hold down T, you're gonna select deploy fob from the menu, and then you're gonna left click to place it down. As soon as you do it, you'll notice a few icons and bars on the top left corner of the screen. This means that you are inside the fob build radius. Say that the radio is the white icon, everything around it inside that blue 150 meter circle is where you are allowed to build. In other words, if you can see the icons on the top left corner of your screen, that means you're inside the fob build radius, you're inside this circle. Now from top to bottom, the first thing you'll see is your faction flag. In this case, we're playing on the American side. Second, we have the yellow bar. This is the health of your fob. This bar turns completely black and you lose your fob. Then we have the ammo points counter. Basically, ammo points is everything that costs ammo on a fob will decrease that counter. From reloading heavy machine guns, mortars, changing kits, resupplying your kits, rearming vehicles, everything will subtract from that counter. Next in the yellow you have your construction points or CPs. You'll use these for basically everything you build: sandbags, spawn points, mortars, machine guns, everything uses construction points. Last but not the least, we have this castle icon that says inactive. This means that there is no current spawn point on this fob, therefore you cannot spawn on it. This is the way spawn points work with fobs in squad. First things first, you place down your radio. After that, you make sure it's resupplied by a logi truck, and then only after, assuming you have enough points, you didn't spend them on something else, you can build the hub. Notice that the amount of points required to build a hub depends on the faction that you're playing as. Okay, so you've placed your radio, and now the most natural thing for you to do is to build a spawn point. But you'll notice that the fob only comes with 200 construction points, and the hub will cost at least 350 depending on the faction. So how do you get the construction points to your fob in order for you to build the hub and the rest of the assets? You're going to need a logistics truck to drive into the build radius of your fob and to drop those supplies. There's also two different types of lodges. You have the small pickup trucks that can carry 500 ammo and construction points, and you have the bigger ones that I'm showing you now that can carry 1000. A lot of people confuse logistics trucks with transport trucks, which are only to carry people. The way to tell them apart is that logistics trucks always have ammo crates on the back. If you can't tell by looking at the crates, there's a second way you can do it, which is you can open your map, you can zoom in and check if the truck has an ammo icon on the back. This is the same for every faction, even if they don't have the big trucks, only the technicals. So you have your logistics truck inside the build radius. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get inside it, you're gonna get on the driver's seat, and you're gonna press Q on your keyboard to resupply that fob. When you're done, you can go ahead and place down the hab, which any other team member with the shovel can build. Be aware, you as a squad leader, you don't have a shovel, you can't build it by yourself. You can tell if a logistics truck is supplied or not by looking at the crates on the back of the truck. You can either just get out and look at it, or you can press F4 while inside the vehicle and you'll sit on the back, and then you can tell if it's supplied or not, basically. In this clip I've just resupplied my fob, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna drive it back to main base to get it supplied again, so that I can come back and resupply my guys one more time. Keep in mind that you can supply a fob up to 1000 ammo points and 2000 construction points. So here I am approaching our main base. What I do here is I switch to the back seat so I can look at the supplies, and as soon as my lodge enters the main base range, it just magically fills up with supplies. So if you can do this at the entrance of your main base, this way you won't waste too much time going all the way inside of the base and then coming all the way back around. Going back to the hab we placed, I just want to reinforce that it is important that you always build your hab to 100%. Why? Because your enemy can destroy it with artillery, IEDs, and even with their own shovels. So if you keep your hab 100%, it will always make it more difficult for them to bring it down. If your hab goes down, your team can no longer spawn that fob until they rebuild the hab. Notice here when we finish the third stage of the hab, the inactive icon actually changed to active, meaning you can now spawn on this fob. Like I mentioned before, many assets in your fob will cost ammo to operate. In this case, every reload that you do with an emplacement, either it be an HMG, an SPG, or a mortar, which are the ones we have at this point in the game, will all cost ammo to use. Vehicles will also use the resources from your fob. If your vehicle is damaged, it's gonna use CPs. If it needs resupply, it's gonna use ammo points. So always make sure you have at least a couple hundred to spare in case there's somebody in trouble. For last, we have the ammo crate, which uses ammo depending on the kit that you are resupplying. For now, it does not differentiate between you having spent 1 bullet or 1000 bullets. It will always consume the same amount of ammo from the fob. Let's say you're walking around and you stumble upon an enemy radio. What are the ways you can remove it? First one is with weapons. You can use rockets, you can use heavy machine guns, and anything above a 50 cal basically can take it down. you happen to be playing on militia or insurgent, you can also use an ID to severely damage the fob. The second way, and the most common, is to simply walk up to it and right mouse hold with shovel, which will eventually deconstruct the radio. The third way, which can be used in combination with the other two, is to capture the radio from a distance. Basically, the radio works has an objective. In this example here, we have a radio placed on the top floor of a building. We have our biggest circle, which is our construction area of 150 meters. And then we have the smallest circle, which is our capture area of 20 meters. Now, if any enemy enters the capture area, the smallest circle, the timer on the spawn point of that fob will go up 15 seconds for every soldier in capture radius. The more soldiers there are inside that cap, the faster you will lose the fob. Now, the catch about this method is that there is no vertical limit. That means if you have the radio on the rooftop, you can capture it from the bottom floor. That means if you have it inside the bunker, if you have it deep underground, doesn't matter. If your enemy has more people than you inside that 20-meter radius around your radio, they can destroy it without ever getting close to it. So keep that in mind when you place them down. If your fob gets destroyed by the enemy, it will cost your team 10 tickets. If you know you're going to be overrun, or let's say you want to build another fob a little closer and you have one blocking it, what you can do is, as a squad leader, you can walk up the radio, you can hold down F, and then have another team member right mouse hold on that fob, and he will eventually remove it, allowing you to save those 10 tickets and to do whatever else you're planning to do. It is also possible to remove it without a squad leader, but you'll need a lot more people if you want to do it quickly. Another thing to note is when you remove the radio, all the smart assets from your fob get automatically removed. What do I mean by smart assets? Everything outside the fortification section on your HUD disappears. All the ammo crates, the hub, repair stations, HMGs, all that stuff disappears. The only thing that stays are the bunkers, the ESCO walls, the razor wire, and such. Now you ask me, why is this important? It's important because if you're just walking around and you stumble upon an ammo crate, you need to understand, does that mean their fob is still there? Yes, it's an ammo crate. But if you stumble upon an empty bunker with no machine gun on it, maybe they had a fob and it was eventually removed.